And this would probably be the 9th or 10th week in a row I'd be doing this Bible study. And I wanted to go live on Facebook and the I Am Ability YouTube channel and share. So what I'm holding in my hand right now is it's like a miniature Bible. And I don't even normally go live or post anything on social media on Sundays. This is important. So you can get free copies of this book if you go to plusnothing.com. Plusnothing.com. I just ordered like 20 of them, but you can also leave a donation there as well to cover the cost of it at least. And then you can have them for free or pass them out. And this is a miniature Bible of like the life and times and stories of Jesus Christ pulled straight out of the Bible, but specifically revolving around the life and death and resurrection of Jesus. And so, like I said, I don't normally talk about this stuff on my social media, but on Sundays, if I'm doing a Bible study, I figured I would go live and I would share it with you. So, all right, so let's see here. The very fascinating thing about Jesus to me is, I will always say this and I always go back to this. It's always been fascinating to me how there's people that I've aspired to be like that have their act together tremendously, so much so that I want to have qualities like them. And these are just people, right? And then the funniest, craziest, weirdest thing to me that's so insane is that some of these people are Christians and they love Jesus. And then that was really weird to me. I'm like, so you totally got your act together in the world. You have a successful business. You're happily married. You're a great parent. You're a good leader. And yet you totally believe in this Jesus guy, this Holy Spirit thing. And I try to be very logical in my questions, and it doesn't make sense to me. So then at some point I had to reluctantly drop down my ego and my pride and my guard and start asking questions like, okay, well, what if this person knows something that I don't? Or what if they're aware of something that I don't? If they're that much more successful than me and they put God first and they believe in the Holy Spirit, then maybe they know something that I don't, because how can I be a know-it-all, right? So it made me want to start asking questions. And the funniest thing is, as I read this Bible, and I've read this thing cover to cover. I actually just finished it like a week ago. And I think I've read like the whole Bible before. There's a lot of weird stuff in there that seems to not make any sense. The language that it's written in is like, sounds weird. But when I read it, something happens that they told me what happened, and I don't know how to explain it. It's this spiritual thing that starts happening. Now, you might have a Bible in your house, you might have one on your bookshelf, and you might actually not read it. I've done that for years. Bible sits around. I feel like I'm a Christian because I have a Bible sitting there, but yet I'm not reading the dang thing. Well, but then there's times when you just want to read it, and sometimes the most exciting thing that you can do, this sounds weird, is to just cuddle up under the covers with a cup of hot chocolate and read the Bible. That sounds crazy, right? I found myself in those modes, and when I feel that way, I just dive right into it because I don't know when that time's going to come around next. And I find myself reading 3 to 5 pages a night of the Bible and reading with my wife and holding hands and praying and things like that. But anyways, when I read this Bible and I hear Jesus talking, this crazy, weird, supernatural experience, the way I articulate it, happens to me to where I actually feel like what they said, like you're ingesting, the Holy Spirit is speaking to you, you're ingesting words of life. Like it's literally, something happens where it comes to life and the words are coming off the pages and you are being endowed with this type of wisdom that is, it's very transformational. And there's these deep lessons and messages, the only way I perceive it when I read about, especially the things that Jesus said and the way he lived his life, that is freaking incredible. And I always think about how this guy, there's many, many ways you can look at this, especially if you're going through a hard time, if you're depressed, if you're struggling, if you're going through any form of struggle, think about how this Jesus guy carried a cross up a hill to be crucified while people were spitting on him and mocking him and telling him he was basically Satan. And the entire time he was loving them, saying, God forgive them, for they know not what they do. Now, I am not a criminal psychologist, nor would I ever freaking want to be, but I would find it very hard to believe that somebody who is a criminal or whatever they accused him of being, because Pontius Pilate, basically they couldn't convict him for anything because he actually wasn't even doing anything wrong. He wasn't breaking any laws. He was totally outside of the jurisdiction of, I think at that time was the Roman civil law. He was going around freaking healing people and praying for people and doing these great things and teaching people knowledge and wisdom, and people were following him, right? It was truly revelational. So he was a great guy. So when I mean, like, I don't know of anybody who, what they accused him of be, who's a criminal, who, what criminal have you ever heard of would carry a cross up a hill while people were, persecuting him and spitting on him and calling him the worst guy ever and literally killing him. And the whole time he's pouring out his heart and saying, I love you, I forgive you, God forgive them, for they know not what they do. It's like that act of unconditional love is something, it's a frequency that vibrates so high that I don't even know how to articulate it or resonate with it. But I know it's like nobody else on earth. So if this guy said he wasn't from this earth, I believe him, because who would be so selfless? See, it does, I could say, or selfish. The guy was so selfish, but it doesn't even resonate, because if you study, there's a book called Power versus Force by Dr. David R. Hawkins, and they've been able to test different calibrations of frequencies. They've been able to test like love and fear and hate and shame, and they vibrate very low on the conscious Richter scale. They've been able to measure these things. But when you move into like forgiveness and unconditional love and peace and wisdom and heart, like happiness and like all those type of things vibrate very, very high. So on a calibritic vibrational scale, Christ vibrates. They actually, in the book Power versus Force, they ran these quantum etheric tests, like actual tests around Christ and Christ consciousness and Jesus Christ and the story and all that, and he vibrated off the charts, like super, super high, right? And so the more you study and the more you learn this stuff is the more that, for me, I became more interested and more fascinated around this character that they call Jesus. And then I've had some supernatural experiences, or I could talk about that in another video. And now I'm at this place where I choose to believe. Now, when you choose, it means you decide, and decide means to cut. To cut what? To cut off any other options. And that can be a scary place to be, right? Your body is too tight and makes stuff in the shot. What are you talking about? What's up, David Mercer? I don't understand. So I choose to believe in, Jesus said the Holy Spirit is the helper. When he goes, he will send the helper, right? And so, like, it's a scary thing to be like, I believe in this. But I like the feeling of believing in Christ. And like, let's say like a bunch of people cornered me and said, why do you believe in Jesus? And they gave me all these logical fallacies and reasons why they think I shouldn't. I'd say, yeah, I understand you have all these logical things that you could tell me of why you think he doesn't exist or what you think you have proof. And I still believe in him no matter what you say. Hands down. I've gotten to this place now, and I don't care if it's a comfortable place. I don't care if it's a place that makes me feel safe. And on the reciprocal, I do feel comfortable and I do feel safe in that, and I do cast all of my problems and my fears and worries, and I pray to this Holy Spirit because I've really read this thing and I choose to believe in what it says because I've met too many people as well that are very successful that I look up to that are also saying the same thing, and it resonates with me so strongly that I can't deny it, and I don't know why. And the reason I keep saying this might sound weird, it's because I have been at a place where I couldn't even relate to a guy who thinks like I think. I couldn't even relate to myself because I would say things like, well, if you don't have any proof and you don't have the logic and you don't have the math to back it up, you don't have the math, how can you say? And then they would say things like, it's because of faith. But faith is faith is a molecule that you almost can't measure physically because it comes from a place that is not physical or that doesn't appear. It comes from something that you can't like measure with a calculator because it's higher up than that. It resonates higher than that. And then I started to think about faith, and I realized that faith I think of the word the crucible. Faith is the nucleus. Faith is the center of all. Like if you wanted to get your business off the ground or get it to the next level, and you're so frustrated because let's say you're afraid to go buy or lease another truck and go drop all this money and then go hire a foreman and launch another crew in your business. Now you got to hire an office manager. You got to grow this thing. You don't have any proof if it's going to work on the next level, right? I mean, you can go get business coaching. You can go talk to other people who have done it, and you can get it all lined up, and you can go do it. And it'll help you if you get coaching from other people. But sometimes when you can't read any more books or take any more courses or get any more coaching and you just got to go do the dang thing, you have to have some faith. And there's something about the element of faith itself that when you have faith in it, the faith makes it work. It makes it so. By your faith, it happens and it's done. And when you have faith, for some reason, other people they believe in you and they'll buy into your vision and they want to walk the walk with you, and the right people will show up. If you don't have any faith at all, you're just totally logically, okay, I'm going to get another truck. Let's launch another crew. Okay, I'm hiring this new foreman to run another crew. Hi, new foreman. Okay, here's what we do at our company. And you're just like giving them all this, but there's no excitement. There's no faith in it. They're probably not going to buy in because people don't do things strictly for money. And even if they needed the money really, really, really bad, let's just say, I'm just making this up, that new person that you're hiring might not want to work for you because you don't have that intangible thing that we can use as a placeholder word called faith. So I've been really thinking a lot about this, and I've spent years thinking about this. And I think that having faith in Christ and just giving it a chance, there's so much merit. It's like the magic key that unlocks a door that opens up a whole new world and a whole new life. It's phenomenal to me. Lee Chun says, truth is apparent. Belief requires imagination, which is endless, and hence so many religions and all believing their false truth is truth. The mind is incredible. I like what you're saying. So, normally I go live on Facebook on my Keith Kelfis. It's like a public page. Now I'm live here on my personal page. Maybe I'll share it over there too. What's up? You had a bad morning? We all have bad mornings sometimes. I hope you're doing very well. I hope that you're enjoying this beautiful weather. I'm in Michigan and we have a beautiful day. The sun is shining. There's birds chirping. My dogs are out running around in the yard barking, and there's squirrels. It's beautiful. And I have an old dog named Miko. I love him very much, and he's 14 years old. We had some scary, rough moments with him where we've had to rush him to the vet, and we've stayed up all night scared, crying, and we spoil this dog and feed him so well, and I'm putting like dog vitamins and minerals in his filtered water, and our unconditional love for this dog is so strong that I believe that it's given him a helped his lease on life. So that's another thing I think about, the power of love. When somebody or something, or a pet, or somebody can feel this sense of security that you love them so much and so unconditionally that there's nothing they can do. They won't be able to help but just fall or let their guard down, because the power of love is that strong. And love isn't always easy, and love isn't always nice. Sometimes love takes boldness and strength and willpower and determination, and sometimes even pain. I have an example of what his power of love was so strong. I never talked about this on social media before, but my best friend at the time, pretty much on and off my whole life, he was, I had like 5 best friends, but my friend, a couple years after I got married, he was the best man in my wedding. He was a bad alcoholic, and we don't know for sure what happened, but it's kind of just summed up as he drank himself to death, right? And I think about how, because after something like that happens to somebody that you love, we can beat ourselves up and say things, why didn't I do something about it, right? But just like I know, when somebody has a bad addiction, now I'm not an expert here, I'm just saying my opinion. Don't take this as any advice. But there's a saying that when an alcoholic wants to drink, they drink. And when an alcoholic, if you're upset and angry with an alcoholic, they'll use it as a reason to drink. And if an alcoholic is excited because there's an occasion or a party or a festival, they use that as a reason to drink. If you cut an alcoholic out of your life because they're toxic, they'll use that as a reason to drink. And it doesn't matter what you do, an alcoholic is going to drink. But there's another piece to this. If I had the strength of Christ, I could have stopped it. If I would have went over there and grabbed the bottle out of his hand and showed my friend unconditional love, even if it took a fist fight, multiple fist fights. I was trying to get my business off the ground, and I was freshly married and trying to grow a marriage and trying to learn how to be a man and trying to get my act together. And I had a best friend who was a very toxic alcoholic. And I don't know if you know like I know, but if an alcoholic feels cornered and they're at their wit's end or they're close to the edge, they can become very toxic and vindictive, and they can attack you even if maybe they don't mean it, but it feels very real. So I had my best friend attacking me and threatening me and saying things I know that today, if he were alive, he would totally regret that, and bringing up things from 12 years ago that don't even make any sense. And I had to be strong because I was confused and I didn't know what to do. I don't know why all this is coming out, but I'm just flowing. I didn't have the strength. And I don't know even today if I would have the power. I would have a lot more power than I did then when I was younger. This was actually 2014. But Christ would have. In the Bible, it says Jesus would go and he would rebuke demons out of people and heal them. He would heal the blind. He would heal the sick. And so I like to look up to Christ, and I like to depend on him, and I like to pray and ask him if I can be more like him, because I think that's a powerful thing. I don't want to throw the person under the bridge, but there was somebody that I love very much who is addicted to smoking cigarettes. And I'm not judging anybody who smokes, but they had smoked cigarettes for far too long. And I loved this person. And I could tell that they didn't have the power to quit. And I knew that they wanted to quit and they were sick of smoking, but there was no way. They just weren't going to quit. They were going to smoke forever. And I knew it wasn't my place, so I didn't say anything. But for some reason, the day came where I felt so empowered that I knew that my faith was stronger and my love was stronger than any of that. It was a very high vibration. And I sat this person down and I looked in their eyes. And I don't know if they were smoking a cigarette or not, but I looked in their eyes and I said, I love you. And I want you to quit smoking. Will you please quit smoking? And they tried to avoid it, but I was so serious and I was so certain, and there was so much. It was insane. It wasn't insane. It was totally sane. How about that? I said, please, 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 will you quit smoking? Please. I love you. Please quit smoking. I can't even manufacture the level of certainty that I had. But anyways, that person from that moment forward never smoked a cigarette. Well, I can't say never, but they didn't smoke a cigarette for literally like 2 years. I think maybe that person has smoked 3 to 5 cigarettes that I'm aware of in the past 6 years. They just don't smoke anymore. And it was because they were with friends who smoke and they tried smoking again and they didn't like it. But anyways, what I'm referring to is the sense of faith and unconditional love and certainty that you can have with somebody if you are incredibly conscious and incredibly present with them. You're so present with them. Your communication is like no more bullshit. Get all that out of the way and just be fully present, because the power of presence and unconditional love and the things that we learn from Christ when you read this little tiny Bible, the way that he was so, there was so much strength and so much certainty that it just resonated as like the truth. And you could see there was people that was, I think it was called the Pharisees. There's these people that would corner Jesus and ask him questions that were called double binds. It's a form of sophistry that they would use to try to get him to put his foot in his mouth and say things so then they could use it against him. They were very smart. But Jesus was so keen to all of their crap that no matter what they said to him, he like wouldn't even fall for it. He would just answer. He would ask a question to their question. And the things he would say in this Bible were so wise that they would just like drop their stones and be like, oh. They couldn't say anything and would just walk away because he was the friggin' man. He was amazing. So, if there's anything or anybody I would like to be more like, it'd be that guy right there. And another reason that I like Jesus is because, so I'm an internet marketing nerd. I love internet marketing. I love cameras. I love videography. I've got 6 YouTube channels. I've got my dream studio that I'm in right now that I built, and I love marketing. Jesus he's the best internet marketer of all time. Why is this? This guy was born, lived, and died well over 2,000 years ago, before laptops, TV, cell phones, Facebook, YouTube, any of that stuff. The internet wasn't even around yet, and today he is one of the most viral, most talked about internet marketers, and has the most followers on social media, and people, probably the most amount of people that are actually preaching the gospel and preaching his message. Who in history was that powerful that they're viral on the internet today off some things that they did? I mean, he lived like 33 years. I mean, think about, boom, the level of impact that that one human being had. That they've got me talking about them. He's got me talking about him right now on social media to you. Think about the contextual relevancy and power that has. Come on, dispute what I just said. You can't. And the more that you try to dispute it, is the more it'll just keep multiplying and showing you that you would actually be wrong if you didn't say he wasn't the best internet marketer of all time. Dude, Russell Brunson with ClickFunnels and Brennan Burchard and the guys of Kajabi and all these different online marketing platforms, these famous internet marketers, have nothing on Jesus. He's the ultimate marketer. He's the ultimate salesman. He's the ultimate guru. If there's anybody to look up to, it would be him. So, when I was a teenager, my grandma told me, one day you're going to be a preacher. I'm like, yeah, okay, grandma. I'm going to be a famous R&B singer. I'm going to be a pop star. I'm not going to be a preacher. Oh, man. All right, you guys are awesome. I'll read a little bit, and then I'll jump off here and let you get to your day. The story about the lost sheep. Many tax collectors and sinners came to listen to Jesus. Then the Pharisees and the teachers of the law began to complain. Look, this man welcomes sinners and even eats with them. Then Jesus told them this story. Suppose one of you has 100 sheep. Jesus is talking now. But one of them gets lost. What will you do? Will you leave the other 99 sheep there in the field and go out and look for the lost sheep? You will continue to search for it until you find it. And when you find it, you will be very happy. You will carry it home. Go to your friends and neighbors to say to them, be happy with me because I found my lost sheep. In the same way, I tell you, heaven is a happy place. When one sinner decides to change, there is more joy for that one sinner than for 99 good people who don't need to change. The story about the lost coin. Suppose a woman has 10 silver coins, but she loses one of them. She will take a light and clean the house. She will look carefully for the coin until she finds it. And when she finds it, she will call her friends and neighbors and say to them, be happy with me because I have found the coin that I lost. In the same way, it's a happy time for the angels of God when one sinner decides to change. The story about the lost son. Then Jesus said, there was a man who had 2 sons. The younger son said to his father, give me now the part of your property that I am supposed to receive someday. So the father divided his wealth between his 2 sons. A few days later, the younger son gathered up all that he had and left. He traveled far away to another country, and there he wasted his money, living like a fool. After he spent everything he had, there was a terrible famine throughout the country. He was hungry and needed money, so he went and got a job with one of the people who lived there. The man sent him into the fields to feed pigs. He was so hungry that he wanted to eat the food the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. The son realized that he had been very foolish. He thought, all my father's hired workers have plenty of food. But here I am, almost dead, because I have nothing to eat. I will leave and go to my father. I will say to him, Father, I have sinned against God and have done wrong to you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. But let me be like one of your hired workers. So he left and went to his father. While the son was still a long way off, his father saw him coming and felt sorry for him. So he ran to him and hugged him and kissed him. The son said, Father, I have sinned against God and I have done wrong to you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. But the father said to his servants, Hurry, bring the best clothes and put them on him. Also, bring a ring on his finger and good sandals on his feet, and bring your best calf and kill it, so that we can celebrate with plenty to eat. My son was dead, but now he is alive again. He was lost, but now he is found." So they began to have a party. The older son had been out in the field. When he came near the house, he heard the sound of music and dancing. So he called to one of the servant boys and asked, "What does all this mean?" The boy said, "Your brother has come back, and your father killed the best calf to eat. He is happy because he has his son back, safe and sound." The older son was angry and would not go into the party. So his father went out and begged him to come in. But he said to his father, "Look, after all these years I have worked like a slave for you. I have always done what you told me to do, and you never gave me even a young goat for a party with my friends. But then this son of yours comes home after wasting your money on prostitutes, and you kill the best calf for him?" His father said to him, "Oh, my son, you are always with me, and everything I have is yours. But this was a day to be happy and celebrate. Your brother was dead, but now he is alive. He was lost, but now he is found." So you let that sink in for a little bit. Think about the things that Jesus said. When I read what Jesus said, it resonates on such a level that it teaches you wisdom. And you can draw from it over and over and over. I just want to read more now. The story about the dishonest manager. Jesus said to his followers, "Once there was a rich man. He hired a manager to take care of his business. Later he learned that his manager was cheating him, so he called the manager in and said to him, 'I have heard bad things about you. Give me a report of what you have done with my money. You can't be my manager anymore.' So the manager thought to himself, 'What will I do? My master is taking my job away from me. I am not strong enough to dig ditches. I am too proud to beg. I know what I will do. I will do something to make friends, so that when I lose my job, they will welcome me into their homes.' So the manager called in each person who owed the master some money. He asked the first one, 'How much do you owe my master?' He answered, 'I owe him 100 jars of olive oil.' The manager said to him, 'Here is your bill. Hurry, sit down, and make the bill less. Write 50 jars. Then the manager asked another one, 'How much do you owe my master?' He answered, 'I owe him 100 measures of wheat.' Then the manager said to him, 'Here is your bill. You can make it less. Write 80 measures. Later, the master told the dishonest manager that he had done a smart thing. Yes, worldly people are smarter in their business with each other than spiritual people are. I tell you, use the worldly things you have now to make friends for later. Then when those things are gone, you will be welcomed into a home that lasts forever. Whoever can be trusted with small things can also be trusted with big things. Whoever is dishonest in little things will be dishonest in big things too. If you cannot be trusted with worldly riches, you will not be trusted with the true riches. And if you cannot be trusted with the things that belong to someone else, you will not be given anything of your own. You cannot serve two masters at the same time. You will hate one master and love the other, or you will be loyal to one and not care about the other. You cannot serve God and money at the same time. And the other translation says you cannot serve God and mammon at the same time. And mammon, if you look at the spirit of mammon, it is an evil, wicked, deceitful spirit that makes you obsessed with acquiring worldly fame, riches, materialistic success. And the point of it is this spirit is to deceive you and get you off the path. So you spend your life just trying to become successful and get things. So that way you totally miss the mark, right? It's a massive distraction. Having all the things so you can articulate it whatever way you want. So you cannot serve God and mammon at the same time. The Pharisees were listening to all of these things And they criticized Jesus because they all loved money. Jesus said to them, "You make yourselves look good in front of people, but God knows what is really in your hearts. What people think is important is worth nothing to God." The rich man and the poor man. Go to the rich man. Oh, the rich man and the poor man. Jesus said, now this is Jesus speaking here. That's why I love this Bible. You can go to plusnothing.com and get this for free, shipped to your house. I just ordered 20 of them, and I donated some money in order to cover all the costs. And then I'm going to give them away. Like, it's pretty cool, huh? But this is Jesus speaking, a man over 2,000 years ago who is now like, got me talking about him to you on social media. Come on. All right. The rich man and the poor man. Jesus said, "There was a rich man who always dressed in the finest clothes. He was so rich that he was able to enjoy all the best things in life every day. There was also a very poor man named Lazarus. Lazarus's body was covered with sores. He was often put by the rich man's gate. Lazarus wanted only to eat the scraps of food left on the floor under the rich man's table, and the dogs came and licked his sores. Later, Lazarus died, and angels took him and placed him in the arms of Abraham. The rich man also died and was buried. He was sent to the place of death and was in great pain. He saw Abraham far away with Lazarus in his arms, and he called, 'Father Abraham, have mercy on me. Send Lazarus to me so he can dip his finger in water and cool my tongue. I am suffering in this fire.' But Abraham said, 'My child, remember when you lived? You had all the good things in life, but Lazarus had nothing but problems. Now he is comforted here, and you are suffering. Also, there is a big pit between you and us. No one can cross over to help you, and no one can come here from there.' The rich man said, 'Then please, Father Abraham, send Lazarus to my father's house on earth. I have 5 brothers. He could warn my brothers that they will not come to this place of pain.' But Abraham said, 'They have the law of Moses and the writings of the prophets to read. Let them learn from that.' The rich man said, 'No, Father Abraham, but if one came to them from the dead, but if someone came to them from the dead, then they would decide to change their lives.' But Abraham said to him, 'If your brothers won't listen to Moses and the prophets, they won't listen to someone who comes back from the dead.'" There was this time during the lockdown a couple years ago when we were all trapped in our houses. Everything was closed down. Everybody was sitting in their house biting their nails. It was a very grim experience for a lot of people. For me, it was a spiritual revelation because I had a spiritual type of realization and a suffering that I had. The only way I can put it is I said, "Oh my God, I'm locked in the house right now and I can't do anything. Why didn't I go see my grandmother in the nursing home when I had a chance? Why didn't I give more money to that charity when I could have? Why didn't I participate? Why didn't I give while I had the chance?" Because if you become astronomically successful and you have a bunch of money in the bank, and let's just say you get into a position where, let's just say you're lonely and stuck in a hole with your arms crossed and tied, and now you can't give, and it's too late. And the spiritual revelation is, you had your chances to give when times were good. You had your chances to be compassionate, but you were too busy up on your high horse with your ego and your pride and your fears of poverty and your fears of suffering. Now your chance is gone. And you say, "But I have money, I have the ability to give, I have the ability to give up my time even." And that spirit will stand over and you say, "No, it's too late now. You had your chance then. And the only reason you want to give now is you think you're going to buy your way out of this." I don't know how to say it. It's like, this. place you put yourself in, which is basically missing the mark, becoming a totally successful financially and in your business, yet you don't give and you don't tithe. And I think that we're all guilty of that. I'm guilty of that. And I'm glad I'm talking about this right now, because there will be a time you might have $1 million sitting on the bank, and you're just going down the river, and you can give it. I hope you understand what I'm saying. This is a very deep spiritual lesson that people who have failed and lost everything and got it all back and failed again, they learn. Like, I know a guy who's I don't know if he wants his name mentioned on social media, but this guy has given his entire life to Christ, and when he speaks, like, he is like in total fear of Jesus in a good way, and he gives his time, he gives his money, because he is so terrified of, and I'm not trying to be negative or like scare you or anything, but he scares me. I get off the phone with this dude, I'm trembling. I'm like, dude, I need to go give my money to the poor. I need to like go donate. I don't care about anything. I like, he knows, he talks about storing treasures up in heaven, and just, he really, 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 really gets it, you know. I think we're all guilty of that. All right, so I'm good here. Man, I could just keep reading. This is so good. I want to read more. Forgiveness, faith, and duty. Jesus said to his followers, things will surely happen that will make people sin, but it will be very bad for anyone who makes this happen. It will be very bad for anyone who makes one of these little children sin. It would be better for them to have a millstone tied around their neck and be drowned in the sea. So be careful. If your brothers or sisters in God's family does something wrong, warn them. If they are sorry for what they did, forgive them. Even if they do something wrong to you 7 times in one day, but they say they are sorry each time, you should forgive them. The apostles said to the Lord, give us more faith, the Lord said. If your faith is as big as a mustard seed, you can say to this mulberry tree, dig yourself up and plant yourself in the ocean, and the tree will obey you. Suppose one of you has a servant who has been working in the field, plowing or caring for the sheep. When he comes in from work, what would you say to him? Would you say, come in, sit down and eat? Of course not. You would say to your servant, prepare something for me to eat. Then get ready and serve me. When I finish eating and drinking, then you can eat. The servant should not get any special thanks for doing his job. He is only doing what his master told him to do. It is the same with you. When you finish doing all that you were told to do, you should say, we are not worthy of any special thanks. We have only done the work we should do. That's deep. Have you ever met anybody who's a Christian and they love Christ, and you start to tell them how great they are? Oh, you're so awesome. You're so talented. You're so skilled. How did you? And they say, hey, man, all glory to God. It's not me. Seriously, no. Like, I'm not a big shooter. I'm just a little guy who keeps on shooting. I've been through all types of hell in my life. I feel very blessed to have this. I work very hard for it, and God can take it away at any time if I'm not careful. Like, that type of humble attitude. Think about that. Think about that. Anyways, I can give a little bit of a testimonial. I've got 50 to 60 million views on the internet now, and we're getting over 4 million views a month on social media. I have 200 to 300 people a day commenting, texting me, getting a hold of my phone number. People have sent me mail, which is pretty cool. And so there's part of my ego that wants to feel significant, that felt abandoned as a kid, that wants to feel like I'm somebody important, that says, finally, am I worthy? Am I worthy? This thing, I've realized that even though I do have some real friends on social media, people that I would love to shake their hand and hug and have a meal with, and we are kindred spirits, 99% of these people will not show up to your funeral. You're just another person on another video. And I think that I've watched people get social media fame or whatever, and I've seen it go several different ways. And it's very interesting to me. If you want that for some reason, just realize that nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. I think the highest level of evolution is contribution. And how can you give and give and give? I'm a little, I guess, disenfranchised or upset with some people who make social media videos specifically to lead people in the wrong directions, especially spiritually, because we have this beautiful, powerful thing called the internet and social media at our fingertips. And it's very persuasive, especially to younger minds. And so I just think if you can press one button and upload a video and potentially millions of people can see it, I think you should be very careful about the things that you say. And cracking jokes are great, but I'm talking about negative things or things that and teach people bad behaviors or teach people things that, like, I don't know, doing wrong stuff is okay. And I'm not to judge of anybody, but I think that's a super powerful device that we have right here, and we can use it for good. We can use it to serve. What's up, Steve DeHunt? We can use it for service, because the butterfly effect, think about it. You can say something good on social media that will spark somebody to have a better day, and then they'll just be smiling at the grocery store because it helped them. It causes this radical transformation worldwide. Everything that you say, we're all one. It's affecting everybody else at the same exact time. Imagine we're a big aquarium. I just did a 30% water change in our fish tank a couple hours ago. If you put one drop of bleach in that fish tank, it's probably not going to be good, right? Well, think about that. So, hey, look, it's my beautiful, stunning, amazing wife. Do you want to come be on the Bible study? I'm wrapping up. Is your mom still on here? It says she's watching. She probably left.
Mama.
Are you still on here, Linda? Yay, yay. I was reading the Bible, talking about Jesus. You like your sunglasses?
Your sunglasses?
Ones I just bought. Let me see.
Mm-hmm. They look good on you.
Remember those aviators Tom Cruise wore in Top Gun when he was on the motorcycle? All right, guys, I'm wrapping up here. Thanks for spending this time with me. I'm going to keep this going, and I'll be on here next Sunday between noon and 2. And thank you. See you soon.